glorious. No, I won't give in, I won't give in till I'm victorious.
Hello once again and welcome back to the Chassis Variant series of myself, Critical Rocket. We're still looking at the Gargoyle. This is the Charlie configuration. This is a brawling setup. It comes with a UAC 20 and 6 ER medium lasers. Probably the most heavily armed of the Gargoyle variants available. In MechWarrior Online, this has a rather deadly medium to short range combination of weaponry. The Ultra AC-20 is not a weapon to be overlooked by an opponent. They should always be aware of where that is, on what mech, and how quickly you should kill it. While the 6ER medium lasers are a nice backup. Obviously, the biggest sort of Achilles heel of the Gargoyle is that its arms are where all of its weapons are on the Charlie version, with the UAC being in the left arm and the mediums being in the right, if I remember, or I may have got that wrong way round. Quickly double check that. No, I was correct. Left arm ballistics, right arm energy. So if it loses the right arm, it's got nothing left other than its ballistic weapon, and if it loses its ballistic weapon, hey, at least it's got 6 medium lasers. So yeah, it looks like it's relatively high heat, but it handles it quite well. Obviously, as long as you're not firing all 6 of the energy at the same time, you should be pretty fairly well off. Yeah, it's not too bad. Sadly, this was a crap map for the Gargoyle Charlie. It could have been better if I had gotten a map like Solaris or River, Crimson, any of those maps that force targets to get quite close. Unfortunately, Polar is a very open and wide map and does not give that many opportunities to make use of such a brutal brawling setup, which is exactly what the Charlie is. It's a straight up brawling one, dedicated close combat configuration, as it states. It also originally had A-pods, which are anti-personnel pods. Obviously, in Battletech, you do have a lot of mixed, combined arms. So you have tanks and VTOLs, helicopters, jet fighters, aerospace fighters, and infantry. And a lot of the time, a common tactic with infantry in the Battletech universe is to try and lure a target mech into an enclosed space inside cities or factories, or any kind of large space that prevents them from being able to adequately move around, and then they will use short-range weaponry such as Manpack PPCs, SRM launchers, those kind of things, and they will basically try to blow a leg off the mech and incapacitate it that way. And one of the pieces of technology that was created, I think it's by the clan specifically, to deal with infantry attacks close up is called A-pods. So basically they're just explosives mounted on the sides of the legs that will just send out shrapnel in every direction. And yeah, it's rather messy. It's quite a brutal anti-infantry dispersal weapon, let's say. And yeah, it was used to good effect by several mechs. I believe the Hellbringer Prime is supposed to have A-pods. But obviously there's no use for that in MechWarrior, so a lot of the tonnage and stuff that gets used for that gets put into other things like extra ammo or a little bit more armour, that kind of thing. It's understandable. With no combined arms, there's no point in having that piece of tech. So yeah, a shame though, because I'd love to actually be able to play a game in the future set in the Battletech universe that makes use of all of the different equipment. I mean, even Battletech that was released by HBS, sure, it has tanks, but we don't have any VTOL aircraft to fight or helicopters. We don't have any artillery call-ins, and we certainly don't have any infantry. So sadly, that aspect of Battletech is still out there somewhere, waiting maybe to be made in the future in a title. I know MechWarrior 5 is going to have helicopters and the such, but that's a nice little step. But maybe one day we will get our planet-side-esque MechWarrior or Battletech game where everybody will be running around. Some people will be in mechs, some people will be in jet fighters, some people will be in... Oh no, wait, it's already out. It's called MechWarrior Living Legends, and it really should have been picked up by a proper studio and given that mod team, all the support it needed. Maybe one day. Maybe we'll see that. But yeah, that was the other thing that the Gargoyle Charlie was supposed to have anyway, A-pods. So yeah, it's high heat, high reward for damage, and obviously it still has the same engine, so it's still fairly fast, which in retrospect is quite frightening when you think about it for a mech that has that kind of firepower available to it. being able to quickly maneuver around to other larger targets, such as heavies and assaults, being able to shoot them in the back with so much firepower could be an instant kill if you're not careful, get your head in a swivel to watch out for that mech. I think the only thing the Gargoyle is really missing for its agility's sake is just some jump jets. If it had that, Jesus, the Gargoyle could actually be quite a terrifying mech, even in MechWarrior Online. But yeah, maybe a future BattleTech sequel will do justice to some of these clan designs that get kind of left out in the cold, and we'll see the Gargoyle being used to its full effect. I mean, imagine having the kind of movement range of some fast mediums in an assault chassis in a BattleTech sequel. I mean, Jesus, that's quite a scary idea. And the ability to just be able to dump alpha strikes because it's not that high heat into a target. Yeah, it quickly adds up. But would I recommend this in MechWarrior? Yeah, it's much like the A, it's at least has a decent amount of hardpoints, whereas I was saying in the Bravo video, compared to its Inner Sphere counterparts and fellow clan counterparts, it's woefully underarmed hardpoint-wise. The options available to you are very small. So you've got a lot to contend with there, and not a hell of a lot of leeway with regards to being able to overpower your opponents. A big chunk of this match, by the way, is that I die in this one at some point. If I remember correctly, I think I get dropped by a Novicat, and yeah, a big chunk of it is just chasing down the remaining mechs, which is one of the problems I think with Polar. I like the idea of having more open maps. I don't hate Polar. I know some people absolutely despise it, but I don't have a problem with it personally. One of the things that I do have a problem with is that sometimes matches on things like Conquest and Assault and Domination and stuff end up turning into a game type where you're basically like trying to tell that you're like, no, get back to the base, get back to the base, no, cap, you end up just sort of sitting there waiting for the match to end based on who gets the points. So that's what ends up happening with this one. So a big chunk of this is just waiting for the light mechs to finish what they're doing. Oh, there goes my arm. You see, that's what I mean. As soon as you lose an arm in a Gargoyle, you lose a significant chunk of your firepower. So max out your arm armor, and don't worry so much about your legs. Is probably one of the first things you want to look into if you're playing a Gargoyle. And I'm not so sure. I'm not even sure about your side torsos, to be honest, because I don't know. Maybe max out your side torso and your arms. Drop your legs a bit, maybe a bit on the head, and whack up a little bit in the CT, but not that much. And go from there. And yeah, get the skills on as well. Get speed tweak, so it can run at 86 kph instead. And I guess any of the skills that pertain to ammunition, since there are plenty of Gargoyle variants that have ammo-based weapons, and it's useful, especially the Prime. Oh Jesus, yeah, definitely the Prime. But yeah, you know what, I'll probably leave you there with that. You can, if you want, you can watch the end of that, watch the team try and defeat them and chase around a very odd. There's a very odd fight at the end on the base. I'm not sure the guy really understood how the mechanics work for base capping now, and yeah, it's kind of Benny Hill style, just chasing him around an oil rig. So yeah, I'll leave it at that one. So thanks again, everyone. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Acquired. SRM ammo at 25%. FRM ammo depleted. Left arm critical damage. Target Target acquired.